I know that postpartum depression or postpartum anxiety is a real thing. It's heavy and so many people face it. If somebody's listening who is going through the depths, what would you tell them?
I would say it's okay to be where you are right now. It's not the end. This is a moment in time and you're going to get through this, but it may not be in the time frame that you wanted. So just ride. But what you have to do is give it a good fight, because if you do not fight, you will not win.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Wellness for Life. I'm your host, Niki Wolf, and today I am so excited because we are taking a slight pivot in the podcast, and maybe not a pivot, but we're starting to introduce a new type of video, because normally if you're a regular listener, you know we're bringing on experts in the field, talking about their expertise and providing their insights. But one thing that I feel like we're missing is bringing on stories of resiliency, of hope, of overcoming health hurdles in their life, and how LifeSeasons was able to move the needle for these individuals. And so today we have our first guest that I am so excited to bring on today, Talitha. She is a mom of a 2-year-old boy, Saint, and she has a beautiful, she has a beautiful story and testimony of health. And my goal is just to give her a space to share her story and hopefully provide hope, and for others that are experiencing similar experiences, that you don't feel alone. So thank you so much for being here, Talitha. I so appreciate it.
Thank you for the opportunity. It's been a journey, but I'm so grateful to be on the side of being able to share. At no point did I ever think I would get there. So it's a blessing to have this opportunity.
Yeah, that's so cool to hear. I think anybody who's gone through the depths of depression or mental health, there are moments where you don't think there is light or there is a way out of it. And so that's so cool to hear from somebody who has gone through those dark, dark days, that you feel on the outside of that. And so I'm just very grateful to hear your story. And I'd love for you to kind of just set the stage of prior to finding LifeSeasons and Mood Stability, the product that we're going to focus on today. What did your health look like? What were you going through? What was this season of life?
Yeah, so I am a pretty healthy person. So before I went into the stage of motherhood and even considered becoming a mother, I was into fitness. I was a gym rat, in the gym every day. You could not get me out of the gym. Like, my family knew that, at this time she's at the gym, maybe 2 to 3 hours. Don't interrupt her. And then after that, I had to take a nap because I had to recover because I worked so hard in the gym. And I was lifting heavy weight. So I was doing a lot of strength training. So that was my life for 2+ years. So I started during the pandemic and just kind of continued on because I loved it so much. I loved the way it made me feel. I love that I was starting to see the results of, my hard work, and it started to put me on this trajectory of like healthy living. So when you're around people who are taking care of their bodies, naturally you want to, get in the mix and do the things that, you see people are doing to look better, but also feel better. And that was my goal, was to feel better, because I never really struggled with weight. I just always struggled with like the feeling, and I'll explain that. The feeling of just, I don't always feel my best. And so that was the first time that I just felt great all the time. I would just wake up feeling great, and I just wanted to, take on the day. So my health was, pretty great. I had no concerns, no health issues. I've been healthy all my life. Athlete in school, played volleyball, ran track, basketball, all 4 years, like did all the things, right? And continued on as an adult, just staying active. So, I'm the person in the family that is the health nerd. And see you drinking a sugary drink, I'm going to be like, oh, did you drink water after? Or, if you're eating snacks that aren't the best for you, I'm going to remind you like, hey, there's a healthier alternative. Did you know? And so, yeah, I'm that girl.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So it sounds like, and I'm curious, was it COVID that kind of pushed you into the gym, or, what got you inspired to like start getting in there, and not just like getting in there for a 30-minute elliptical? I mean, it sounds like you're putting in time and work.
Oh, yeah. So I will give shouts out to my partner. He is definitely into health and wellness and very fit. So when our paths, crossed, I was just like, really into how he was just dedicated to something every day. And I was just like, whoa, I want to do that too. Like, what are you doing? And like, you look good. Like, his skin was always looking great. And just the details of like, you're very happy all the time. Like, what are you doing? So that was my entry point into really getting into like fitness training. And then everything else after that, it was more of a curiosity that I've always had, because I stopped eating like meat in high school. I just noticed like it didn't sit well with my body. I was always sick. And then I stopped drinking milk because my stomach was just always upset. So I was very in tune with my body from a very young age, and just didn't know like there's a world of like health and wellness, because that's not how I grew up. We grew up with, you had what you had and you did the best with what you had. And so I had to figure this out on my own.
So it sounds like, there was this season where you're feeling good, you're waking up with energy, you're happy, there's abundance. Where did the transition happen to this next season of life, and what did that look like?
Right. Whew. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I had a beautiful pregnancy. I worked out every day during my pregnancy, and I was just so grateful for, a beautiful pregnancy, because you hear stories where at pregnancy, it's just miserable. I had a beautiful pregnancy. I gave birth. I had a beautiful birthing process. Everything was just beautiful. And I would tell people like, oh my gosh, like, this is great. Like I'm, so stoked about motherhood. And then it was like 6 months in where, they talk about the anxiety and depression hitting you later. And I'm just like, that's no way. Like, how can you be this happy and this joyful with new life? And there's no way. Like, I just didn't believe that you can go from such a high, like just having new life and feeling so great, to just like, I remember there was a time where I literally had to tell myself like, you were blessed for a reason and you can do this, because I was ready to give up. It was that bad. I was going to my doctor, letting them know like I don't feel like myself. And the one thing that I'll still remember to this day is just like how Western medicine, and I know this, right? So Western medicine is Western medicine for a reason. So I was going with the knowledge and wherewithal of like, I might not get the answers I want, but at least I'll get something. My doctor told me, you'll be fine. Just ride the wave. And I'm just like, what? You're telling somebody who has done all that she can do, and she's literally reaching out for help, like, oh, this is just a part of, your journey as a mom. You'll be fine. And I was just like, okay, so I guess I have to do this myself. Like, that was what made me really get into, like, I have to find help for myself, because no one understands. I felt like, although, yeah, we talk about anxiety and depression, what I was feeling from such a high to such a low, I was just so confused. I was lost. I was angry, and all the emotions at the same time, while having to be present and be a mother while breastfeeding, while still trying to take care of myself, still trying to hold to these expectations of like, health and wellness, because that's important to me. Still trying to keep a household together. And so, yeah, I lost myself bad. And it was one of those times in your life where you're just like, God is real. There has to be something, that is out there, because none of this makes sense, right? None of what I was going through made sense. I couldn't wrap my head around it. I didn't have the support. I come from a smaller family, so it was just Thomas and I, my partner, just really riding the wave. And I'm so grateful for our relationship, because those are the times you really have to be vulnerable with each other and really understand who you're bringing life into the world with, and really understand yourself from just like letting go and letting another person help you at your most vulnerable point. So that was the first time that I had that happen. I couldn't fix myself. I couldn't help myself. I needed the support. So he was a major factor in that journey. Well, it's just him saying, like, you can do this, like, you can, we got this. So we continue to walk and continue to do the things. And of course, I wanted a quick fix. And so I just landed in Mother's Market one day and just started looking around. And I was that desperate because nobody else was giving me what I needed. And I just had to figure something out for myself.
At this point, kind of in the depths or these dark days, how long is this period for when, I know you said you started at around 6 months where you started not feeling yourself, prior to finding something that worked for you? How long was that?
I would say a year. I was not feeling like myself for a year. Yeah. It's only recently that you see this, like, and people are like, no way. It's like, yes way. Like, I did not put no makeup on. I didn't do my hair. I didn't go outside. I didn't eat. I lost a lot of weight. I remember my sister telling me, and we always joke. She always jokes with me, but she was like, you look sick. And I just took offense because I'm like, no, I don't. This is just, motherhood. But that was one of the key, times that it registered, like, something's not right. Something's going on.
And you say a year. And for those listening who maybe have not struggled with depression or mental health of any capacity, a year might sound like a fraction of time, but when you are in such a dark day, a minute feels like a lifetime. I remember, and I don't want to tangent too much, but I remember being in the heaviest days, and I could only think of, how do I get to the next minute? A year, that is a monument of resiliency and, sitting in that struggle and that heartache. And, there are things that come from that, but I mean, that's an incredible amount of time to sit in those dark days and to go through that. And I just, appreciate your vulnerability, sharing the story. And I don't think you've shared much of this previously. So you're walking into Mother's Market. For those listening who maybe don't live in California or Southern California, it's a health food store out here, a brilliant, beautiful health food store that has such a good selection. So you must have been doing kind of some of your own research at this point of like, okay, supplements out there, products, or did you walk in and you ask somebody, what do I do? This is what I'm struggling with. What did that look like?
So it was a combination of knowing like I was deficient of something that made my internal system happy, because I'm a happy person. Anything can happen. I'm going to find the light, right? I'm going to always be happy. And I was just like, I need that person back. So it was a combination of knowing who I am, but then also knowing like I had changed my diet. And so I wasn't getting the B vitamins. So I was like, okay, at least I know if I start with the B vitamins, I can at least like get a little bit of my brain back, or a little bit, happiness back. So I started there, like with a mission to find, I think it was like a B complex, B whatever, go from there. So I walked in, and Cindy, this amazing lady in...
was that the Signal Hill?
Yes.
Yeah, I used to work, I was a rep at that store and I knew Cindy. How funny. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, she's amazing. So she was just like, just try this. You might like it. Just no pressure. I was like, Cindy, but what if it does this and this? She was like, you can just bring it back. No problem. So that was it. That's how I found Life Seasons. And ever since that moment, I was just like, wow, a pill. Like, oh, oh my gosh. Like, and until you go through something like that and to get on the other side and to know like a pill can help you like get back to yourself, I will always be grateful for Life Seasons. And this is why I'm an ambassador. I try to get everybody on it. I'm like, hey, what do you need? Like, they have everything. So.
Absolutely. And so Mood Stability was the product that Cindy recommended, and it has a spectrum of herbs ingredients in there that are designed to boost the mood, help support serotonin, like you said, the B vitamins, which are so crucial for our nervous system. So how long did it take? I mean, if you remember, I mean, how long did it take to kind of start noticing a little bit of a difference?
I joked with Thomas about this. I was like, I noticed it instantly, but he's like, no, that's not how it worked. I was like, shh, let you tell it. But I want to say within 3 to 4 days, so a good week to getting my system and like, know like this is what the change is on top of like starting to work out and incorporate like, you know, the protein shake, the veggies, shake, but really like making sure I have my supplement in the morning at a certain time, that was the change.
And it's interesting, kind of coming back to your original conversation about starting working out during COVID. And you noticed from your partner, you know, he's happy, he's feeling good, he has energy. It's this momentum. I think a lot of people like look for motivation, but I believe that it's consistency that actually builds motivation. You don't wake up every single day wanting to do something. It's the consistency. Once you start seeing these changes and these results, you're like, okay, I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to keep doing this. So we can't wait for motivation. And it sounds like what you did is mood stability for you almost built in that motivation because you were consistent taking it. You slowly start to feel yourself. Some of your energy comes back, your life, your joyfulness. And now, because we do believe, you mentioned Western medicine, Eastern medicine is diet, lifestyle, supplementation. The supplement part might be that missing piece to give you stable enough that you can actually get out of bed, that you can go for a walk, because maybe you felt so dark that you didn't even have the ability to get out of bed. So to be able to have a supplement, because we don't think like, I think it is a multi-pronged approach to feeling good and to thriving and helping people live life to its fullest. And so if a supplement or mood stability, this emotional support is what takes to bring you to a safe, stable spot so that you could start doing things you were used to, start doing things that make you feel yourself again, to probably get back in the gym, to get out of the bed, to, I remember, and I'd love to ask you too, I remember when I was going through my like dark phase, I clearly remember the day where I was in my car and I sang to a song. Like it was that long of a period where I couldn't sing. You were just like mute. You were, just constantly in the grave. Everything was flat. And I remember like, oh my gosh, like I'm starting to come back. Was there anything like a moment like that for you? I'm curious, where you're like, okay, wait, I am coming back to life.
Yeah, it was a few. So I love clothes. I love to dress. I love color. When I started to wear colorful clothes again, I was like, whoa, this is so cool. I had worn like gray, black, and like mostly sweats. And that's not me, because I'm like, I love fashion. Like I know how to dress. I love to dress. So when I started to dress again, I was like, whoa, this is really. And then I had the combination of anxiety and depression. So my hands would shake. And when I noticed my hands weren't shaking, I was like, whoa, this is so cool. I would just look at them like they were like new, like they're not shaking. Cause I would literally have to like calm myself down because my hands were so shaky and like do things to like regulate my nervous system. And I was just like, this is how some people live in their everyday bodies. And I'm experiencing this as a moment, right? But never having knowledge that this is a thing for some people. So I was like so grateful now that I'm out of that dark pit, like to have gone through that, because I have such an awareness now, like people being in their own body, like that is somewhat of a struggle for a lot of folks that we don't even think about because we're just so quick to just get up and go, get up and go. It's like, no, you really have to like calm yourself down just to get out the door, or, you know, have some, whatever the thing is that you have to do to get up and out the door. I never had to do that. Like, I just get up. Like, I'm a morning person. So it was that. So me dressing, you know, my hands stopped shaking, but then also, like, I love to smile. I started smiling, like taking pictures. Like, there was a time where I have no pictures of myself for a whole year. And I just had no interest in being seen.
Yeah. Yeah. If you could go back and maybe talk to yourself, Talitha, prior to this 6 months postpartum, or if somebody's listening who is going through the depths, who doesn't want to wake up the next day or feels so lack of hope, whether they have a village surrounding them, whether they have a great partner or not, and they were once this completely different person, what would you tell them?
I would say it's okay to be where you are right now. It's not the end. This is a moment in time, and you're going to get through this, but it may not be in the time frame that you wanted. So just right. But what you have to do is give it a good fight, because if you do not fight, you will not win. And that was, I had to fight through it.
Yeah. It's not easy. And I think that was one of the things too, that like, it's okay to be uncomfortable, or it's to learn to be comfortable in the uncomfortable, because I think a lot of times we think every day is going to feel good, or, you know, we're going to go in with ease. And I just remember like having those really, really hard days. And the beautiful thing about being a human, is experiencing the full spectrum of life, of all the feelings, because our good wouldn't be so good without the bad and without the heaviness. It reminds me of the refining process, when you have this gold and you have to put it in the fire and add heat, apply pressure. That is the difficulty in life. That's the challenges in life. That's the hardship in life. That's losing a parent. That's getting fired from a job. That's having a sickness. That's all this pressure and heat. And eventually you start, the dust and the rock starts to fall off, and you eventually end up with this like beautiful piece of gold. And I think there's so much to be said for this refining process in life, that, you know, it doesn't have to be all David Goggins and I don't know if you're familiar with him, but it's like everything should be miserable. Like, he's a really intense guy, and like he's overcome some of the most incredible things. And he has this mentality that like only like Navy SEALs would have, that we need that mentality in some of our fighters. But I don't think we all need to think everything is miserable and like want to crave the miserable. But there is beauty and there are lessons to be learned in these experiences, and what you've overcome and what you've journeyed through, and what it's given you. And now you're at a place, and I know you have an incredible platform where you're able to help so many people and share your own testimony. You know, and I know that postpartum depression and, you know, or postpartum anxiety is a real thing. It's heavy, and so many people face it. And to know that you're not alone, even though, I mean, when you were going through that, did you feel alone in it?
Absolutely. So let's peel back the layers. So I am the last in my family to have my son. And so the women have already done their motherly things, and like, you know, the generations are different, right? So I feel like I'm the last who's trying to like do it differently, you know, so just do it differently. And I felt alone in the sense of like, previous generations are just like, oh no, that's normal. Like, you'll get through it. Kind of like they don't know, they don't have the knowledge of what is happening for them to even give advice, right? So, you know, the brush me off response is just normal. It's just like, oh, okay, you'll be fine, because we know you'll be fine. You're Talitha. You're going to be fine. So I felt alone in the sense of like, no one could relate because I was like, oh, did you go through this when you had, your child? It was like, well, if I did, I'm fine now. It's like, okay. And then I tried to talk to people I don't know, and they're kind of don't want to share their experience. I can tell like there's something there, but they don't really want to share their experience. I'm like, okay, go to the internet. It's just too much information. I'm like, okay, I know I'm not that, but something is happening. So I kind of got away from the internet because then you get, those wild thoughts. And so I just had to just do it on my own. And I'm used to doing that. But in that moment, that's not what was healthy for me. That's not what I needed. So I say for, the folks, the women who, and men, right? Not postpartum depression, but just depression in general. When you're going through that, like lean on the people who are going to, help you. And that might not be your community of people that you have entrusted, right? It might be the random person at the pickleball court or the random person in the grocery store who helped you find the vitamin, or, the random person walking down the street, giving you a compliment when you're like, are you sure? Me? Like, mm-hmm. So it's those people really.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good advice. It's not always going to be the expected that might, that you got to surround yourself with. And you ultimately at that point, you got to do what's going to take care of you in that moment. When I do the math, postpartum started around 6 months for you. Your son's 2 years old. So it sounds like, you've had a few months under your belt of feeling well. Are you currently still on mood stability? Did you lower the dosage? Are you pausing it because you're feeling good? I'm just curious. Everybody has their own journey. I'm just curious what's working for you.
So I paused it because I wanted to see what my natural body can do because I'm a natural girl. So I was like, even though it's a natural supplement, I'm still putting something in my body. So I just want to see what it can do. I feel great, but now I feel like because I felt so good, I don't want to like ever lose that. So I'm like, I got to figure out my dosage. So we'll see. We'll revisit, but I'm not taking Mood Stability right now, but I am taking Adrenal T.
Amazing. I think postpartum in general, being a mom in general, I think I'd have to say almost every mom, I think it should be on an adrenal support from the late nights to the early mornings to the craziness. I mean, my daughter's only 16 months, but it's already crazy, and just, it's a beautiful, beautiful season and a ride in life. But I think an adrenal support, very grateful that you're on that one. And
I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't do the things that I would say how we grew up to like, calm our nerves and stress and cope. I don't do those things. So I have to always make sure that I can cope through my day. And if it's taking, a little extra supplement, great. And if it's eating a cookie, great. But I don't do the things that, some might do. And I feel like if I'm going to spend money on vitamins, it better be the best, because that's my coping. Like I spend money on health food and supplements. So yeah.
I love that so much. Well, again, I just appreciate you sharing your story, coming on here. I know that that's not easy, especially at a topic like this. And my hope is that this story can relate to so many others out there and give them hope and show them that they aren't alone, that it is possible, that you will overcome. There will be a fight, and that fight is good. And it makes, yeah, exactly. And, and look where you've come and look where you are now. And so again, thank you so much for coming on here and sharing your story. And I'm just so grateful that Seasons was able to assist you in this and get you to a better space.
Thank you. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to share my story. And now that I'm on Adrenal T, like go spread the word about that.
Totally.
But it's just a beautiful thing. So thank you.
Absolutely. All right. Well, until next time. Bye, Talitha.
Bye.